Good evening. Welcome to News Now on TV360. I'm Thelma Okoro. Gunmen suspected to be members of Islamic sect Boko Haram early Thursday attacked Bajogab town in Gombe State, northeast Nigeria. Residents of the town said the militants entered the town at about 5 a.m. and began shooting sporadically, causing panic-stricken residents to flee the area. They also reportedly broke into homes and started shooting at people. The Nigerian army reportedly engaged them and was able to repel the attack, pushing the insurgents out of the town. Authorities are yet to give any casualty figure. Bajoga is the host community of the Lafarge cement factory, where the sect members attacked a couple of weeks ago, stealing dynamite and other explosives. The alleged mastermind of the April 14 bomb explosion in Nyanya, a suburb of Abuja, Aminu Ogoche, wants a federal high court to order the Nigerian government to pay him the sum of 100 million naira as damages over his detention for alleged complicity in the incident, which claimed about 75 lives. Now, that's not all. Ogoche is also demanding a public apology in 2 national dailies. His lawyers said the continuous detention of Ogoche by the DSSS is illegal and amounts to a gross abuse of his fundamental human rights as contained in the 1999 Constitution. The DSS says it will oppose the suit filed by Ogoche. A federal high court in Abuja on November 24th had struck out the 2-count terrorism charge against Ogoche for want of diligent prosecution by the state. Ogoche was arrested in May by operatives of the Interpol in Sudan for his involvement in the Nyanya blast. Global corruption watchdog Transparency International has ranked Nigeria as the 39th most corrupt nation in the world, according to the Corruption Perception Index 2014 released on Wednesday. Nigeria scored 27 out of a maximum 100 marks to clinch the 136th position out of the 175 countries surveyed for the report. Nigeria appeared to have improved by 8 points as against its 2013 rating of 144th out of 175 countries last year. If you recall now, the Transparency International Corruption Perception Index ranked Nigeria 35th among corrupt nations in the world in 2012. A statement issued by the watchdog noted that more than two-thirds of the 175 countries in the 2014 Corruption Perception Index scored below 50 on a scale of 0 perceived to be highly corrupt to 100 perceived to be very clean. Denmark is the least corrupt nation in the world, ranking first out of the 175 countries surveyed, while North Korea and Somalia are most corrupt nations in the world. Nigeria's ruling party PDP has suspended its former chairman Bamanga Tukur for taking the party to court seeking to reclaim his seat from the acting national chairman of the party, Adamu Muazu. The party at its National Working Committee meeting in Abuja Thursday said it sanctioned Tukur for failing to explore the party's mechanisms for redress before going to court to challenge his ouster. A federal high court in Abuja had on Tuesday dismissed a suit seeking the removal of Muazu as a national chairman of the People's Democratic Party (PDP) and Tukur's reinstatement. Tukur had asked the court to nullify his resignation in January, saying he was compelled to stand down from the position. Now, the National Working Committee of the party also suspended Aliyu Gurin, another member of the PDP. Gurin instituted the first case asking the court to reinstate Tukur. They will both be on suspension for 1 month before facing a disciplinary committee, the party said. Chairman Senate Committee on Environment, Senator Bukola Saraki, has described the federal government's 9.3 billion naira intervention on the Clean Cook Stoves initiatives as a misplacement of priorities. Saraki, in a statement in Abuja, said the funding of the Clean Cook Stove from the Ecological Fund without due process is a mockery of the Procurement Act and the Cook Stove Initiative. He called for the reversal of the decision in view of its public concerns and criticisms by various stakeholders on the action. He said the ecological fund, which is assumed to be the source of the fund, was established to fight emergency ecological problems in Nigeria like flooding, erosion and other unforeseen natural disasters. Saraki added that an intervention of that financial magnitude should be given in partnership with the private sector through various forms of public-private partnerships. In what is considered a very bold move to tackle the Ebola virus, the African Union Commission is launching a continent-wide text messaging campaign in an effort to raise funds for the fight against the Ebola virus.
Africa's mobile telecoms industry is known for its stiff competition, but for once, the operators are putting that aside to work together to fight a disease that has killed more than 5,000 and threatens to kill more. People across the continent can now contribute to the Ebola Fund by simply sending a text message to donate.
Is a service where customers can simply send an SMS message to 7979 with the word Stop Ebola, and then they'll make a donation of 100 naira, and all of that money with no deductions will go to the African Union Fund to eradicate Ebola.
The African Union Commission has so far raised more than $20 million in donations through its hashtag Africa Against Ebola campaign, but its chairperson says more is still needed.
Because the epidemic is still proceeding until the free countries and others and Africa as a whole is declared Ebola-free, like Nigeria has been. Their donations will still be welcome.
The launch of the initiative coincides with the send-off of 250 Nigerian volunteer medics. Among them is nurse Tochi Anunobi, an Ebola survivor.
I survived through the intervention of the earth worker, and I want other people to survive through my own intervention, because if there is still Ebola outside Nigeria, we are not yet free.
From this very cozy and beautiful hall, the volunteers will be leaving to work in some of the most difficult terrains in Liberia, Guinea and Sierra Leone. It's no doubt going to be a very tough work, but the good news is that they all say they're very much ready to stop Ebola from spreading.
We'll take a short break now. When we come back, News Now will continue.
Every day, every hour and every minute, news break in Nigeria. Things happen so fast, it's most times difficult to track and comprehend them. But that's what we do right here on TV360. 2015, would you want to come back again?
It's like asking Jesus Christ if he knew he was going to die, will you want to come back as the savior of the world again?
We do not just help you track the stories, we break them down, explore all the angles, analyze the issues so that you can fully comprehend the stories and use them to make the right decisions.
Welcome back to News Now. To business. Months after a Nigerian court gave the green light for the privatization of state-owned Nigerian Telecommunications (NITEL) and its mobile arm MTEL, Natcom Telecommunications has emerged the sole bidder for both companies. The consortium run by Skybank's chairman Olatunde Ayeni, the founder of Sahara Energy, Tonye Co, and two other companies, received the approval from the Nigerian government to take over the country's telecom carriers once they pay the sum of $242 million, which is about 42 billion naira. If the group eventually pays the stipulated amount for the purchase of the telecom carriers, it would be a successful sale that comes after 4 failed attempts by the Nigerian government. The Nigerian Deposit Insurance Corporation says Nigerian depositors' funds are safe in the nation's banks and other financial institutions in spite of the uncertainty in the global financial system. Bashir Umar, who is the corporation's director in charge of its asset management department, told journalists in Sokoto Thursday that the NDIC is there in case any bank and other financial institutions fail to honor their statutory obligations. Umar further urged Nigerians to continue to have sustained confidence in the banks and other related financial institutions. He also spoke on the decline of oil prices, saying the Nigerian economy was safe in spite of the dwindling oil revenue. Nigeria's Federal Inland Revenue Service Thursday clamped down on 10 companies in the Federal Capital Territory for failing to file tax returns and remit collected revenues to offset their outstanding tax liabilities. FIRS Director of Communications and Liaison Department Emmanuel Obeta said the companies were owing the government a total of 121 million in tax arrears. Some of the companies whose top officials were arrested by the service included Dom P Communications Limited, Ivory Suits, Nkoyo Restaurant, Duby Guest Inn, Premium Guest Inn, Pacific Guest Inn, and Nordi and Amio Hotels. The FIRS says it would now let the law take its full course on tax offenders. To foreign stories now. A decision of a United States grand jury not to indict a white police officer in the chokehold death of an unarmed black man has led to massive protests across the country. The jury failed to indict police officer Daniel Pontalio in the death of Eric Garner, who had been stopped on suspicion of selling loose untaxed cigarettes in the town or in the streets of New York. Angry crowds gathered in Manhattan and Staten Island near the site where Eric Garner was killed July 17 to protest. The decision was announced just over a week after a Missouri grand jury declined to charge a white policeman who shot and killed another unarmed black teenager, Michael Brown, in the St. Louis suburb of Ferguson. The city's medical examiner said the police officers had killed the 43-year-old Garner by compressing his chest and neck and ruled the death a homicide, adding that Garner's asthma and obesity had contributed to his death. An amateur video captured on a mobile phone showed the confrontation between Eric and the police officer on the day he died, back in July.
Put your hand behind your back. I can't breathe. 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 I can't breathe.
The use of chokeholds are prohibited by New York police regulations. Meanwhile, U.S. Attorney General Eric Holder has ordered the police department to launch a civil rights investigation into Garner's death. President Putin has warned Russians to brace up for hard times days after the ruble suffered its biggest fall since the late 1990s. In his annual State of the Nation address to Parliament Thursday, the Russian president also urged Russians to be self-reliant. Russia has been hit hard by the falling oil prices and by Western sanctions imposed in response to its intervention in the crisis in neighboring Ukraine. The ruble, once a symbol of stability under Mr. Putin, suffered its biggest one-day decline since 1998. On Monday, the government had warned that Russia will fall into recession next year. Speaking to both chambers in the Kremlin, Putin also accused Western governments of seeking to raise a new iron curtain around Russia. He, however, expressed no regrets for annexing Ukraine's Crimea Peninsula, saying the territory had a sacred meaning for Russia. To sports now, the Electoral Appeals Committee of the Nigerian Football Association (NFA) on Wednesday upheld the September 30th Football Board elections held in Warri, Delta State. Spokesperson of the committee, Ademola Olajire, said 4 members of the committee and the committee secretary, Mohammed Sanusi, endorsed the decision contrary to the expectation of the committee's chairman, Oke Ajunwa, Muazu Suleiman, Sani Fema, Shehu Diko and Leonard Ibokwe had appealed the elections that brought in Amadou Pinnick-led board of the NFA after they lost out in the contest. But confusion still remains over the issue as the chairman of the appeals committee is insisting that the election remains invalid. As many as 99% of Russian athletes are guilty of doping. This is according to a German TV documentary. The program claims that Russian officials systematically accepted payment from athletes to supply banned substances and cover-up tests. The documentary shown by Das Erste also implicates an International Association of Athletes Federation, IAAF, in covering up the abuse. Reacting to the allegations, I must say, the Russian Athletics Federation, RAF, has dismissed them, calling them lies. However, the World Anti-Doping Agency, WADA, has said it will fully investigate the claims. Just last year, there were calls to boycott the World Athletics Championships in Russia because of links to doping. We've come to the end of the news now. I thank you very much for joining us. I'm Thelma Okoro.